Welcome to Ancient Travel Destinations. This adventure embarks with a heartfelt empathy and insight into the hardships endured by countless people compelled to exist without a fixed abode. In every corner and narrow passage across Florida, there lie countless narratives of courage, endurance, and sorrow that echo our common bond as human beings. We're pulled into a realm where each expression narrates a tale, and every fleeting instance serves as a quiet plea for aid that stirs our emotions and prompts us to ponder the essence of unity and kindness. Before we plunge into this immersive travel documentary, please pause for a second to hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to our channel, HN Travel Destinations, to remain linked with uplifting tales and voyages that unveil the overlooked nooks of our planet. We warmly welcome you to become part of our circle, where each comment amplifies awareness and every like casts a ray of optimism to those in distress. Florida Homelessness Overview. Florida boasts its radiant shores, lively traditions, and eclectic populace, yet beneath this veneer of a vacationer's haven lurks a grim truth confronting many of its inhabitants daily. The region harbors a substantial population dwelling on its streets, their plights frequently ignored, their existences shadowed by instability and fragility. The heart of Florida. The Sunshine State unfurls a plethora of prospects for discovery, from its renowned amusement parks to the pristine allure of its beaches and the wild Everglades. Balmy weather beckons both travelers and residents to revel in the joys of outdoor living. Yet, amid this wealth of warmth and bustle, a swelling predicament of homelessness grips communities in cityscapes and countryside alike. The suffering of those without homes casts a sharp juxtaposition against the opulent retreats and thriving tourist hotspots typically tied to Florida, urging us to delve beyond the surface into matters of financial inequity and societal unfairness. Historical context of homelessness in Florida. The origins of homelessness in Florida stretch back through years of fiscal turmoil, transformations in trade, and alterations in governmental strategies that abandon many defenseless souls without a fallback. Past occurrences like economic slumps and catastrophic weather events have only intensified the woes borne by those lacking steady lodging. It's vital to recognize that numerous individuals have encountered relentless obstacles and personal calamities that have thrust them to society's edges. This documentary voyage aims to illuminate their experiences and unearth the accounts seldom shared by conventional outlets. Economic and social factors. In Florida, the dance between escalating living expenses, scarce affordable dwellings, and unpredictable employment arenas has fostered a setting where homelessness readily takes hold. Metropolitan hubs like Miami and Tampa often stand as epicenters of these trials, where the divide between wealth and want yawns especially wide. Those who end up houseless are frequently the casualties of a framework that has faltered in delivering fair chances and entry to critical support systems. Such economic divides push many into unstable living situations with scant access to medical care, learning opportunities, and other fundamental provisions most take as a given. The impact of natural disasters. Florida knows all too well the wrath of nature's tempests, like hurricanes and deluges, which aggravate the homelessness dilemma. Countless locals lose their residences in an instant, compelled to find fleeting refuge in packed centers or out on the pavement. This susceptibility to elemental forces heaps further burdens onto the homeless populace, rendering recovery an intimidating endeavor. For numerous survivors of such calamities, the task isn't solely reconstructing their physical shelters, but also reclaiming their feelings of safety and worth. This documentary expedition underscores how these incidents act as both a spur for transformation and a poignant cue of the delicate equilibrium between the environment and human existence. Community initiatives and support systems. Despite the adversities confronting Florida's homeless, a host of grassroots efforts and aid networks tirelessly strive to deliver relief and optimism. Numerous regional groups have embraced the mission, laboring relentlessly to provide lodging, nourishment, and guidance to those in want. Local movements and volunteer endeavors shine as glimmers of promise for those traversing the bleak pathways of homelessness. Amid the gloom, tales of benevolence and generosity emerge, affirming that even in the toughest times, the human soul can triumph. Through joint ventures and creative tactics, these entities endeavor to forge a fairer world where everyone gets an opportunity to reconstruct their futures. A glimpse into daily life. Strolling through the avenues of places like Orlando and Jacksonville, one can't help but observe the jarring disparity between tourist magnets and the concealed enclaves of homelessness. Many are compelled to reside in makeshift havens within deserted structures, green spaces, or beneath overpasses. Their everyday routines are steeped in perpetual unpredictability and the necessity to devise resourceful means to endure harsh realities. This documentary odyssey carries us into the core of these enclaves, where each day unfolds as a fight for sustenance and self-respect. The tenacity and fortitude of these souls amid hardship stand as a potent testament that every person merits empathy and reverence. In our venture across Florida, we unearth that every segment of the state cradles a tale yearning to be voiced. In areas that appear commonplace, extraordinary feats of perseverance challenge our views on homelessness and deprivation. The journeys of the homeless weave into the wider tapestry of Florida's social and economic fabric, their experiences mirroring a quest for acknowledgement and assistance. This documentary lens not only spotlights their hardships, but also beckons us to rethink our part in cultivating a more caring society. Don't you think every existence warrants a fresh start? Comparative analysis, Los Angeles homelessness. Turning our gaze to the Pacific Coast, we explore the plight of homelessness in Los Angeles, a metropolis now emblematic of urban destitution and societal divides. While Florida wrestles with the repercussions of financial downturns and natural upheavals, Los Angeles confronts its own distinct array of hurdles propelled by exorbitant housing prices and an unrelenting housing shortage. The homeless here are often seen residing in vast tent cities sprawling over public greens, freeways, and forsaken plots. The pursuit of steadiness in this city of aspirations morphs into a torment for many ensnared in a relentless loop of uprooting and desolation. The urban landscape of Los Angeles. Los Angeles emerges as a city of extremes, where dazzle and grandeur coexist alongside vistas of profound want and struggle. The thriving film sector and affluent districts veil a bitter truth for the thousands dwelling on its thoroughfares. The fiscal gulf in Los Angeles widens further with the towering cost of survival, leaving scant space for those battling to secure affordable shelter. The homeless community here is both varied and enduring, yet the deep-seated issues fueling their predicament linger mostly unaddressed. This documentary tale strives to connect the glossy facade of Los Angeles with the routine tribulations endured by its most fragile citizens. Social challenges and public policy in Los Angeles. The measures enacted in Los Angeles to tackle homelessness have sparked heated discussion and contention over time. Attempts to offer temporary refuges and budget-friendly homes have yielded uneven outcomes as the magnitude of the crisis swells. Insufficient resources and administrative hurdles frequently stall significant advancements, while outreach initiatives push to foster a more welcoming space for those in distress. The city teeters at a pivotal moment where bold, new answers are desperately needed to confront both the signs and origins of homelessness. This documentary seeks to unravel the intricate dance of governance and human endurance that shapes the terrain of Los Angeles homelessness. Wouldn't you appreciate seeing greater commitment from local authorities to uplift these at-risk groups? Comparative analysis, New York, homelessness. Shifting further eastward to New York, we meet another urban nucleus where homelessness has surged to troubling heights. In the expansive sprawl of New York City, securing a secure and reliable home remains an everyday skirmish for many. The obstacles facing the homeless here are layered and tightly entwined with concerns of psychological well-being, substance dependency, and entrenched inequity. In this segment, we juxtapose the realities of the homeless in New York with those in Florida and Los Angeles to discern how geography and regional governance influence their quality of life. The urban reality of New York. New York City often garners acclaim as a worldwide crossroads of artistry and trade, yet beneath its gleaming towers resides a populace frequently overlooked. The homeless here must maneuver a labyrinth of packed streets and sparse provisions. In numerous instances, people resort to bedding down in entryways or seeking sanctuary in shelters swamped by the clamor for space. The ceaseless hum and rush of the city can invigorate yet overwhelm those fighting to persist. The saga of homelessness in New York speaks of grit amidst staggering odds, serving as a vivid prompt of the deficiencies in our communal safeguards. The role of public services in New York. New York City has rolled out an array of schemes designed to offer respite and backing to its homeless residents. From crisis shelters to outreach efforts providing mental health care and vocational training, the city perpetually seeks paths to mitigate the emergency. Still, the sheer breadth of the issue often renders these endeavors inadequate to meet every affected person's needs. The strategies in New York adapt continually, responding to input from advocates and the stark truths on the ground. This documentary not only traces these labors, but also prompts viewers to ponder if more could be achieved to spark enduring reform in one of the globe's most legendary locales. Impact of local culture and environment. A primary distinction among the homeless communities of Florida, Los Angeles, and New York stems from each area's distinct ethos and surroundings. In Florida, the temperate climate and natural expanses present both trials and openings for those on the streets. Meanwhile, the homeless in Los Angeles grapple with the strains of a vast urban sprawl and soaring property costs, whereas New York's experience is tinted by the brisk tempo and dense crowds of the city. Each locale unfurls its own set of barriers, amplified by regional economic climates, societal currents, and public directives. This documentary perspective helps us value the singular conditions molding the lives of homeless individuals in each zone, emphasizing the need for customized approaches to tackle area-specific woes. Wouldn't you concur that grasping local nuances is crucial for crafting impactful social frameworks? Innovative solutions and future prospects. Across these three territories, a rising agreement emerges that fresh, inventive responses are essential to combat homelessness. The tales from Florida, Los Angeles, and New York reveal that a uniform strategy falls short of meeting the intricate demands of vulnerable groups. Partnerships among governmental bodies, local coalitions, and private ventures are being probed as viable routes to deliver more lasting aid. The advent of portable housing modules, neighborhood hubs, and career preparation schemes mark some of the promising trials unfolding nationwide. This documentary series endeavors to spotlight these victories while recognizing the lengthy path still ahead towards systemic overhaul. The horizon of homelessness intervention might rest in these cooperative ventures, prioritizing compassion, ingenuity, and communal involvement. The role of education and awareness. Knowledge and enlightenment stand as mighty instruments in the struggle against homelessness. In all three zones, public drives and learning programs have ignited to narrow the chasm between society at large and the homeless collective. These undertakings strive to dismantle misconceptions and foster a more knowledgeable and tender reaction to the plight. By amplifying personal chronicles and offering a stage for voices often silenced, these efforts hold the power to sway opinions and ignite initiative. This documentary bears a purpose to not only chronicle the battles, but also to inform audiences about the wider societal and fiscal elements fueling homelessness, empowering them to effect change. This odyssey through the very terrains of homelessness in Florida, Los Angeles, and New York has unveiled shared struggles and distinct regional flavors. In Florida, the fusion of natural calamities and economic rifts crafts a unique backdrop for the homeless, while Los Angeles wrestles with steep living costs and urban expansion that heighten the fight. In New York, the unyielding rhythm and thick populace further muddle the quest for stability. Despite these variances, the core motifs of endurance, fellowship, and the call for inventive fixes echo steadfastly throughout this documentary saga. The aspiration is that by illuminating these intricacies, we can forge a path towards substantive shifts benefiting all communities. Bridging the gap between regions. Comparing the homeless ordeals in Florida, Los Angeles, and New York enables us to better comprehend how local elements shape the challenges and prospects confronting those in need. Homelessness is an issue bound to one spot, but a countrywide emergency demanding both localized and national focus. The sharing of concepts and effective practices across these areas could yield more potent tactics to address the matter. This documentary highlights the value of a cohesive push to bolster those sidelined by a swiftly evolving world and to erect societies that exclude no one. Human stories and personal triumphs. Throughout our quest, we've met numerous souls whose intimate accounts of hardship and victory bear witness to the might of the human essence. Despite the brutal truths of street life, these individuals display an unyielding resolve to rise above misfortune. Their paths are etched with moments of deep woe, alongside surprising deeds of warmth and hope. It's through these personal sagas that we're reminded of the capacity for transformation when communities unite in support. This documentary seeks to pay tribute to these voices and rejoice in the modest wins often eclipsed in the broader homelessness narrative. As we approach the end of our expedition, we muse on the insights gleaned from the plights of the homeless in Florida, Los Angeles, and New York. The persistent threads of resilience, empathy, and the demand for creative resolutions strike a deep chord across this exploration. Our wish is that by casting light on these tales, we might spur action and foster a joint endeavor to tackle the root causes of homelessness. This documentary not only captures the stark realities, but also exalts the human knack for hope and rejuvenation as communities collaborate to shape a more inclusive tomorrow. Final thoughts and reflections. The quandary of homelessness is intricate and multi-layered, weaving together economic woes, ecological influences, social tides, and governmental edicts. In Florida, the challenges intertwine with the state's exposure to natural upheavals and fiscal fluctuations, while Los Angeles and New York unveil their own singular urban battles. The parallels among these regions spotlight that though outward conditions may differ, the fundamental human experiences of grief, hope, and grit remain strikingly alike. Through this documentary lens, we've aimed to lend a voice to those too often erased and to urge viewers to peer past the superficial, embracing the profound humanity thriving in every recess of our world. In light of the wisdom harvested from this journey, it's evident that confronting homelessness necessitates a unified effort, stretching beyond singular locales. It demands a reassessment of societal guidelines, a reinvigoration of communal resources, and a revitalized pledge to forge communities that cherish every soul, no matter their lot. The narratives we've stumbled upon in Florida, Los Angeles, and New York remind us that behind each figure lies a person whose promise remains untapped. We must ponder how we might aid in crafting a society that prizes compassion and deed over apathy. This documentary beckons us to join the shift by taking concrete steps to uplift those in want and championing a fairer, more balanced world. Conclusion and invitation to engage. We're grateful you've accompanied us on this poignant and revelatory trek through the lives of the homeless in Florida, Los Angeles, and New York. This documentary tale isn't merely one of anguish, but also a tribute to the human spirit that presses on against all odds. Your participation in this conversation is a vital piece of the puzzle toward impactful change. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Travel Destinations and share your reflections on how we can unite to craft a brighter future for all. In a realm where every narrative counts, let's wield our voices to illuminate the obscured struggles and victories of those too long disregarded. In wrapping up, we encourage you to mull over the lessons drawn from this voyage and consider how you might spark change in your own sphere. The trials of homelessness may be immense and diverse, but the scope for positive upheaval hinges on our readiness to heed the stories of those who endure them. This documentary stands as a summons to act, a cue that every soul merits dignity, kindness, and a shot at reshaping their destiny. Despite the adversities borne by the homeless across Florida, Los Angeles, and New York, hope flickers in every act of goodwill and every gesture of unity. We urge you to carry this ethos forward and play a role in the remedy that turns struggle into promise and despair into resolve. Thank you for tuning in and joining our passage through the soul of homelessness in America.